Dear citizens of Israel, to begin with, I would like to send, on behalf of myself and on behalf of all of you, my deepest condolences to the family of Rav Samal Bakir Ralev Nasser. May he rest in peace, who was killed in battle today in the Gaza Strip. The entire people of Israel, along with their dear family, the entire people of Israel salute him for his heroism. I send my best wishes to the soldiers and fighters who were wounded in that battle. I strengthen the hands of the soldiers and commanders. I ordered the IDF to respond vigorously and to increase the pressure on Hamas even more. We are in a war of resurrection, a war of 7 fronts. For this war, there are very heavy costs, because every loss like this is a world full of it. But we as a people have no choice but to continue to fight for our very existence until victory. Citizens of Israel, as your Prime Minister, I am not convinced. I am not convinced of the murderers who committed the most terrible massacre of the Jewish people since the Holocaust. Such an act will endanger the security of the state and endanger you. We are at the decisive stage of the campaign, and at this stage we need a long-term spirit and determination in order to win. If we look at Hamas's achievements so far, all the great achievements that we have achieved, thanks to our fighters, thanks to our soldiers, thanks to our heroic wounded, all these achievements will simply go down in history. Since the beginning of the war, we have heard calls for an end to the occupation, and these calls have finally been answered. If I had listened to these calls, we would not have enlisted in Rafik. We would not have occupied the Philadelphia border. We would not have carried out the Viper operation. We would not have enlisted in Sinwar, Def, Ania, and also Nasrallah. We would not have created the conditions for the fall of Assad's regime and the severe damage to Iran's wall. We would not have changed the face of the Middle East. We would simply have continued to live under existential danger. Therefore, I would also like to say a few words about Iran. I am obliged to prevent nuclear weapons from Iran. I am not giving up on this. I am not giving up on this, and I will not withdraw from this, not a millimeter. But the most important thing is to hear the criticisms that all those who opposed the many actions that I have carried out over the years to harm Iran's nuclear program, to follow it. Without these actions, Iran would already have had nuclear weapons 10 years ago. But many in this group who are speaking today opposed in a systematic manner all the actions that I have carried out and the aggressive policy that I have carried out. So it seems that there is no border to the military. And as for Iran's mission in Gaza, if we do not complete the destruction of Hamas's military and governmental capabilities, the return on October 4th and the subsequent arrests are only a matter of time. Hamas says that they will do it. They intend to do it, and they are working to do it. Hamas's control over Gaza will be a huge blow to Israel and a huge victory for Iran. At the end of this week, Hamas again rejected a proposal that could have allowed the release of half of the prisoners of war who are still in Gaza, and the return of many prisoners of war. Hamas demands the end of the war and the control over Gaza. It also demands a complete Israeli withdrawal from Gaza and the reconstruction of Gaza with the introduction of a nuclear weapon, which will allow it to regroup and again prepare for attacks on us. The end of the war in these conditions will send a message to all the enemies of Israel that by arresting Israelis, the state of Israel can be brought down on its heels. It can be subjugated. It is also a deadly message that terrorism is becoming a thing that will harm the security of the entire free world. Of course, in these conditions, the important vision of President Trump cannot be fulfilled. The vision that one side of Gaza will change forever will allow our country to live in security. Therefore, I declare that we will not end the war of resurrection before we destroy Hamas in Gaza, before we return all our prisoners, and before we ensure that the Gaza Strip will not pose another threat to Israel. Those figures in Israel who are so irresponsibly calling for the end of the war in the conditions of Hamas withdrawal. What are they doing? They are literally supporting the Hamas movement. They are supporting the brutal psychological war that is being waged against us and against the families. They are not approaching. They are distancing the captured freedom. They are leaving them more time there with Hamas. The conditions of Hamas withdrawal, which have been brought to light, are not new. They were called upon time and again in all the negotiations for freedom. But what responsible leader in Israel can accept them after the October 7th? I certainly cannot, and I am sure that neither can you. Those among us who call for the end of Hamas's withdrawal are telling us, get out of Gaza now, get out of Sir Philadelphia, kill Hamas, ensure that they will not return to fight, and after Hamas returns all the prisoners, they will return to fight. The greatest absurdity is that they say this in front of a crowd when Hamas is watching them. Do you understand? They are telling us, tell Hamas, we inform you that we are lying to you, and you will agree to it. Hamas is a group of murderers, but they are not stupid. They are demanding international guarantees that do not allow the ideological illusion that all these experts present to us in their own taste, in their own words. They have no idea how the international system works. No one, certainly not the United States, nor China, nor Russia, nor other partners in the Security Council, no one will cooperate in such an act. This will make the return to war impossible. We will not have any legitimacy to do so. Remember at what speed Israel lost international legitimacy to the most just war in our history. And this was after the Hamas terrorists murdered more than 2,200 of our citizens in one night and kidnapped more than 250 of them. The wheel quickly turned on us. The political pressure fell on us. We suffered an arms embargo, also from our good friends, and we are also dealing at this time with the accusations of genocide in the international arena. So I would like to clarify. There is no false obligation. If we are obliged not to fight, we will not be able to fight again in Gaza. As a condition for the end of the war, Hamas demands a complete withdrawal of the IDF from its territory, including a withdrawal from the Philadelphia area and from the Security Council, which protects the residents of Israel from Hamas terrorists. And I would like to ask you, did our fighters fight back? Did our heroes fall and get wounded back? Both in Lebanon and in Syria, we established a security line to protect the residents of the north. And the significance of a withdrawal from the security line in the Gaza Strip is that in a short time Hamas will restore its terrorist army and will be able to again carry out mass arrests and another massacre against the citizens of Israel. As Prime Minister, it is my duty to prevent this, and I indeed prevent it. I believe that it is possible to restore our IDF without falling into the hands of Hamas. This is how I have acted so far. You know that in one of the first debates of the first cabinet in the war, perhaps the first, the most senior person in the security system, Said that we need to get used to the fact that perhaps we will not be able to restore even one IDF. I endured differently. I believed that the combination of military pressure and political pressure would indeed bring freedom to our IDF. Many did not believe this. But to date, we have returned 196 arrests, of which 147 are still alive. In Gaza, 24 are still held captive, and 35 are held in exile. The mission is still not complete. And I intend to complete it without falling into the hands of Hamas. Since the outbreak of the war, including in recent days, we have met and spoken with many of the captured families. We will continue to meet all of them, just as we have done since the beginning of the war. I meet the people. I understand the difficult conditions of the dear families, of the fathers, mothers, brothers and sisters, and the children. I feel a great pain. I hear the cry of my heart. It is piercing my heart. We will increase the pressure on Hamas until we achieve all the goals of the war. I repeat and emphasize, we will not give up on any captured person, alive or dead. We are determined to return home, to all of them. Citizens of Israel, we are in the midst of a brutal civil war, a war that was not like this one. Because of the bravery of our brave fighters, because of the great spirit of our people, because of the strong policy set forth by the government under my leadership, we have achieved great achievements. But the missions have not yet been completed, and we are determined to complete them. With the end of Eid al-Adha and the transition to Eid al-Mimuna, and the opening of the days of remembrance and independence, which unite our people, I say we still have great challenges ahead of us, and we will overcome them. We can do this together. We will do this with determination, with strength, with faith, and with the great spirit of our people. We will stand together. We will fight together, and with God's help, together, we will win.